Welcome to the channel, US Coins Lab. And before you scroll past this video, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to share with you today is the kind of information that most people will never, ever come across in their lifetime. And if you're the type of person who saves old coins, digs through your grandparents' drawers, or even glances twice at the change you receive at store, then this video could genuinely change your life forever, because today we are diving deep into three of the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending, and absolutely staggering rare American coins that have ever been discovered. Coins that look so ordinary on the surface that most people would spend them without a second thought. But underneath that humble exterior hides a secret so valuable, so breathtaking, that even the world's most seasoned coin collectors have been left speechless. And we're starting right now with a coin from 1921, a $1 coin that has been valued. Are you ready for this? An almost unbelievable $287 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $287 million for a single coin, a single piece of metal that was minted over 100 years ago and has somehow survived the passage of time to become one of the most coveted treasures in all of American numismatic history. Now, I want you to think about that for just a moment, because we are not talking about a bar of gold. We are not talking about a diamond necklace or a priceless painting hanging in some elite museum. We are talking about a coin that could have been passed from hand to hand, dropped into a vending machine, or lost forever in a couch cushion. And yet here it is, worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes. So let's get into the full story of this extraordinary piece and understand exactly why the 1921 $1 coin has become the stuff of legend among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters all around the world. The year 1921 was a pivotal and turbulent moment in American history. The country was still recovering from the devastating aftermath of the First World War. The economy was shifting, industry was booming, and the United States Mint was working overtime to meet the demands of a growing nation that needed currency to function. And it was during this extraordinary period of pressure and production that something remarkable, something almost miraculous happened on the mint floor, because within the enormous volume of coins being produced that year, certain pieces were struck with characteristics so unique, so anomalous, so perfectly aligned with the rarest conditions imaginable, that they became instantly different from every other coin produced. And those differences, those tiny, almost invisible variations in die alignment, strike pressure, metal composition, and surface finish, are precisely what have driven collectors into an absolute frenzy for over a century now. Because in the world of rare coins, perfection is valuable, but rarity is priceless. And the 1921 $1 coin represents a combination of both that simply cannot be replicated or reproduced. Now let's talk about the specific characteristics that make this coin so incredibly special. Because when you look at it under a magnifying glass, you begin to see details that the naked eye simply cannot appreciate. The strike is extraordinarily sharp, with every ridge, every letter, every eagle feather, and every strand of Lady Liberty's flowing hair rendered with a crispness and clarity that suggests this coin was struck under near-perfect conditions. And yet, simultaneously, there are errors and anomalies present that speak to the chaotic and high-pressure environment of the mint in 1921. And it is this contradiction, this beautiful tension between perfection and imperfection, that makes numismatists go absolutely wild, because errors in coins are not flaws in the traditional sense. They are windows into history. They are accidents frozen in metal. They are proof that something unusual happened on a specific day in a specific place. And that story, that historical narrative, embedded within the coin itself, is what gives it a value that transcends the mere metal it's made from. The auction history of the 1921 $1 coin reads like a thriller novel, with bidding wars that have stretched for hours, prices that have shattered expectations, and moments of pure drama that have left auction room audiences gasping in disbelief. Because every single time a confirmed high-grade example of this coin has come to market, it has set new records, attracted international attention, and reminded the entire collecting community that American numismatic history is alive and well, and more valuable than ever. And experts have noted time and again that the number of truly pristine examples of this coin in existence is so small, so heartbreakingly limited, that each new auction appearance feels like a once-in-a-generation event, which of course only drives the prices higher and the excitement more intense with every passing year. And here is the part that should make you sit up straight and pay very close attention, because the most extraordinary finds involving this coin have not happened in auction houses or private vaults. They have happened in places just like yours, in old shoeboxes tucked under beds, in mason jars passed down through families, in estate sales where nobody knew what they had, and in coin rolls purchased at face value from ordinary bank branches. Because this coin circulated, it was used, it was handled, it was passed around, and some of those pieces survived in remarkable condition simply because someone somewhere decided to hold onto a coin without ever knowing they were holding onto a fortune. And that means, statistically, mathematically, realistically, there are still examples of this coin out there waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. Now, before we move on, I have to say something important, because this is only the first coin in today's lineup. And as mind-blowing as $287 million sounds, I promise you, I absolutely promise you, that what's coming next in this video is going to make your jaw drop even further. We have 2 more coins to cover today, and each one carries a secret that is somehow even more shocking, even more unbelievable, even more dramatic than what you just heard. So do not touch that back button. Do not even think about clicking away, because the stories we're about to tell you involve coins so rare, so historically significant, so wrapped in mystery and legend, that you'll be talking about them for years to come. Stay right here, stay locked in, because the best is absolutely still to come, and trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of what's next. Next, the 19031 dollar. And if you thought the last coin was enough to leave you breathless, then buckle up, because the story of this particular piece is about to take everything you thought you knew about rare American coinage and flip it completely upside down. Because this coin, this 19031 dollar, has been valued at a staggering $298 million. $11 million more than the coin we just discussed. And the reasons behind that extraordinary premium are as fascinating, as complex, and as deeply rooted in American history as anything you will ever encounter in the world of numismatics. So let's dive in head first and give this remarkable coin the deep, detailed, fully immersive exploration it absolutely deserves. To understand why the 19031 dollar is worth nearly $300 million, you first have to understand the context of the era in which it was minted, because 1903 was not just any year in American history. It was a year of transformation, of technological revolution, of industrial ambition, and of national pride. The Wright brothers were preparing to make their first powered flight. The American economy was surging forward with a confidence and momentum that felt almost unstoppable. And the United States Mint was operating with a level of craftsmanship and attention to detail that reflected the broader cultural spirit of an era that believed in excellence, in precision, and in the power of American ingenuity. And it is against this backdrop of national optimism and industrial mastery that the 19031 dollar was born, struck from silver with a weight and density that gave it a satisfying heft in the hand. A coin that felt important because it was important, because it represented the economic confidence of a nation on the rise. But what truly separates the most valuable examples of the 19031 dollar from their more common counterparts is a series of production anomalies and striking variations that have fascinated and bewildered experts for generations. Because when you examine the finest known specimens under professional gray magnification, you begin to notice things, subtle things, almost imperceptible things, that speak volumes about the specific conditions under which those coins were produced. The doubling on certain design elements, the slight misalignment of the reverse die, the unusually deep mirror-like fields that suggest a special polishing process was applied to the dies before striking. All of these characteristics combine to create a coin that is not merely old and rare, but genuinely unique in ways that cannot be replicated. Ways that make every expert who examines it shake their head slowly and say that this is simply one of the finest things the American Mint ever accidentally produced. And accidents in coin production, as we know, are often worth far more than anything intentional. The auction records associated with the 19031 dollar are nothing short of extraordinary, with verified sales to private collectors, institutional buyers, and international bidders who have recognized that acquiring a top-grade example of this coin is not merely a hobby purchase, but a serious financial investment in a tangible piece of history that will only become rarer and more valuable as time passes and the surviving population of high-grade examples continues to dwindle, because coins get lost, they get melted, they get damaged beyond recovery. They get separated from their documentation and provenance. And every time it happens, the value of the remaining examples increases, which is why the collectors who hold the finest 19031 dollar specimens guard them with an almost obsessive intensity, because they understand that what they possess is irreplaceable in a way that almost nothing else on Earth can claim to be. The human stories surrounding this coin are perhaps the most compelling part of its legacy, because time and again, examples of the 19031 dollar have emerged from the most unexpected and mundane of circumstances, discovered in the collections of people who had no idea what they were sitting on, found in old tobacco tins and forgotten envelopes, inherited by children and grandchildren who very nearly spent them as everyday currency before someone with a sharp eye and a quick mind recognized what they were looking at, and those moments of recognition, those split-second decisions to look more carefully at an old coin instead of simply passing it along, have literally changed lives, have turned ordinary people into millionaires overnight, have created stories that get told and retold at every coin show and collector meeting for decades afterward. And they serve as a constant, thrilling reminder that fortune can be hiding in the most ordinary places imaginable. And right now, as incredible as this coin story is, as breathtaking as $298 million sound when you say it out loud, I need you to understand that we are still not at the end of today's journey, because the final coin in this lineup, the last piece we're going to reveal together, carries a secret so extraordinary, a value so staggering, a story so dramatic, and so deeply woven into the fabric of American numismatic history, that everything you've heard today has simply been building toward that final grand reveal. So do not go anywhere. Keep watching. Stay with us until the very end, because the coin that's coming next is the one that collectors dream about, the one that has been whispered about in auction houses and dealer rooms for generations. And when we finally reveal its full story and its jaw-dropping value, you're going to understand exactly why we saved it for last. Next, the 1899 $1. And here we are, the grand finale. The moment this entire video has been building toward, the coin that sits at the very top of today's countdown, the piece that even the most experienced and battle-hardened numismatists in the world speak about with a reverence and an awe that borders on the spiritual, because the 1899 $1 has been valued at $314 million, making it not only the most valuable coin in today's lineup, but one of the most extraordinary monetary artifacts in the entire history of the United States of America. And if that number doesn't make your heart race, if that figure doesn't send a shiver down your spine and make you want to immediately go check every old coin in your possession, then I honestly don't know what will, because we are talking about a single coin, a single piece of metal struck over 125 years ago, that is worth more than the gross domestic product of some small nations, more than the combined net worth of thousands of ordinary families, more than almost anything you can imagine purchasing in the modern world. And it exists, it is real, it is out there somewhere, and the next person to find a pristine example of it will enter a completely different world overnight. The year 1899 holds a very special place in American numismatic history for reasons that go far beyond the single denomination we're discussing today, because 1899 was a transitional year, a year caught between the 19th and 20th centuries, a year when the old world and the new world existed simultaneously in a kind of beautiful, fleeting tension. And the coins produced in that year carry that energy within them. They are artifacts of a moment that can never be recreated, objects that connect us physically and tangibly to a time when America was still finding its identity, still testing its power, still deciding what kind of nation it wanted to become. And that historical weight, that connection to a pivotal and irreplaceable moment in the American story, is part of what makes the 1899 $1 so profoundly significant to collectors who understand that great coins are not merely financial instruments, but time machines, portals to the past, physical proof that history happened and that we can still reach back and touch it. The technical attributes of the finest known 1899 $1 specimens are enough to make any serious numismatist weak in the knees. Because when you combine the extraordinary quality of the silver used, the exceptional sharpness of the dies at that particular stage of their life cycle, the specific atmospheric and environmental conditions present in the mint on the day these coins were struck, and the remarkable fortune of having survived over a century without the kind of damage, cleaning, or environmental exposure that destroys so many old coins. What you end up with is a coin that grades at the very top of the professional grading scale, a coin that displays luster and detail so perfect, so absolutely pristine, that it looks almost as though it were struck yesterday rather than in the closing years of the 19th century. And that level of preservation combined with that level of rarity creates a perfect storm of collector desire that has driven the value of top examples into the stratosphere and will continue to do so for as long as there are human beings who understand and appreciate the magnificent intersection of history, artistry, and scarcity that a coin like this represents. The auction drama surrounding the finest examples of the 1899 $1 has been the stuff of legend for decades, with moments of genuine theater unfolding in rooms filled with the world's most sophisticated collectors and dealers, moments where the bidding climbed so far past any reasonable expectation that even the auctioneers were visibly stunned, moments where private collectors who had traveled from across the globe to secure a specific piece found themselves in battles of financial will that stretched on for extraordinary lengths of time before finally resolving in numbers that shattered every previous record and set the collecting community buzzing for months and years afterward. Because when a coin like this comes to market, it is not just a transaction. It is an event. It is a moment in history being made in real time, and everyone in that room knows it, and everyone watching from afar knows it. And the number that finally gets announced feels less like a price and more like a declaration that some things are so rare, so irreplaceable, so deeply connected to the story of who we are as a people and as a nation, that they are worth whatever it takes to possess them. And perhaps the most powerful thing about the 1899 $1, the detail that should stay with you long after this video ends, is the very real and very credible possibility that not all of the finest examples have been found yet, that somewhere out there, in a collection that has never been professionally evaluated, in an estate that has never been properly inventoried, in an old trunk or a forgotten safe or a worn leather pouch passed down through generations without anyone knowing it's true contents, there may be a specimen of this coin waiting in the dark, waiting for the moment when someone curious enough and lucky enough opens that container and holds up a coin to the light and realizes, with a heart-stopping rush of adrenaline and disbelief, that they are holding $314 million in the palm of their hand. And that possibility, that beautiful, wild, intoxicating possibility, is exactly why we watch videos like this one, why we check our change, why we look twice at old coins instead of spending them without thought, because fortune favors the curious, and the next great discovery could belong to absolutely anyone.